We're slipping away from home. Oh, yeah. I'm not slipping away from anywhere. We're in the studio at 4680Q. Me and my guest, Chris Rigas, in the house now. I've been trying to get Chris on here for, oh, man, probably over a month. And nope, that's the one right there.
All right.
You sound fantastic. We got the good sound going today. I've been trying to get Chris in here for over a month, but it's summertime. He's got a restaurant, the Old Fire Hall Restaurant, of course.
Yep.
And he's busier than, what do they call that? A one-armed paper hanger or something like that. Yep. So, or a two-peckered billy goat. One or the other. There's that other one right there that a lot of people say. But we don't want to say that on air because I already did. But I'm glad to have you in the studio, Chris, because, we talked about all summer when you were in here about the region, and they've been very, very quiet. And we said, when they're quiet, they're plotting something.
They have plans.
And they never have plans to leave your pocketbook alone.
No.
They're always plotting how they can extract more money, do that biopsy on your wallet just to see what you have. And of course, we're going to talk about that because that's what's been going on. And here we are again on Your City, Your Voice. And that's what we're talking about today. So tune in. It's going to be a great show. But before we get to it, I have to get to my valued sponsors here, as they pay the way for the show. And they are Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Now, of course, we look out here. It's a beautiful day today, partly cloudy. They're getting crushed in Florida, but we're nice here. But you know what's coming, and you don't want to be reactive. You want to be proactive. You want to get out there, get your car running tip-top so that when the winter does come, you're not scrambling around last minute trying to put winter tires on or do any of that. Get it done now where there's no big rush to do that because the first snowfall, the first cold weather, that's what's going to happen. Now, in that regard, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop is offering a free end-of-summer inspection. That's right. They're going to look at your brakes, your suspension, your tires. They're going to give your car a computer scan, fluids. They're going to look at your lighting, make sure it's all working, and take your vehicle for a test drive. Because a lot of times these mechanics can hear things. And they're going to make sure you're running tip-top. You can't beat that. A free auto inspection before winter, free end-of-summer inspection. And, of course, if you get in a wreck, they have a full body shop there. You can take your car in. It'll come out in showroom condition. You'll be happy. They'll be happy. I'll be happy. Everybody's going to be happy. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Ken Hunter, proprietor, on Oakwood Drive, right next to the Kia dealership. Why is that so hard to say?
I don't know.
That's not for you, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
But anyway, that's where it is. Oakwood Drive by the Kia dealership. Call Ken today. Tell him Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. What I want to talk about is something that I had to ask you, but I haven't had a chance to. I wonder all these buttons. These buttons are pushed down. I don't know what the heck's going on here, but it's all working anyway. And that is about a month ago. You're supposed to come on my show. You couldn't make it because you were too busy. Something came up. And you went and you were working hard at your restaurant like you usually do.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, this guy walks in.
Yeah.
And it blew your mind.
Mr. Polyev.
Yep, Pierre Polyev. And I got the name right. I finally learned how to say it. I call him PP still, though, just because I like it. But yeah, he came into your restaurant.
He did.
That must have been something. Like, how did you know he was coming in, or what happened?
No, I had canceled to come in with you that day because I had a power surge that blew a ballast in a light in my kitchen. So I was busy replacing the whole fixture. I just said, forget it. We're just going to replace the whole fixtures. So I got that done just as we were about to open, and so I come walking out of my kitchen, and there's a friend of mine, Mr. Bart Maves, sitting in the corner, and Bart comes by every once in a while, and I said, Bart, what are you doing here so early? And he says, because I was just at Pierre's thing down the road there. He says, and they might be stopping by here for lunch. And I said, really? And he says, yeah. He goes, it's not 100% certain, but but that's what they had told him, that they were going to come to the old fire hall for lunch because, well, I worked on Pierre's leadership campaign and, here in Niagara. And so that's what they told him. And so Bart was there, and I sat with him, and he goes, things might change. He goes, how things go. They might have to cancel and go somewhere else. It depends. So we hung around there for a minute, and then we saw a guy walks in the door there, starts looking around, and turns out to be Pierre's personal security. And then about 10 minutes after that, the black Suburbans show up, a couple of those, and a few RCMP guys get out, and they're looking around because now that he's the leader of the party, he gets all the security issues, and they don't advertise where they're going ahead of time. Now, unbeknownst to me, they had made a reservation actually the day before, but they made it under one of his staff's name.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Makes
so
sense.
they made sure they had a table. Now, if they had told me they were coming, I would have shut the place down for them, just because I like Pierre a lot, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, they came. We had other tables in there at the time. We had other lunchtime customers, and he went around. He was giving out some peaches that he was given to the tourists. He introduced himself, and then he sat himself down there, and we went over. Bart and I went over, and we talked to him for a little bit. I made him his lunch, and then afterwards we talked a bit more. And he was on his way. He was in and out within about 45 minutes, but it was an interesting thing. It was a shock, actually. I appreciated it a lot that he stopped by. He said he thanked me for doing what I did for him during the leadership, and we had a good we had a good little talk for a few minutes, and that was it.
Oh, nice. And the best line though I heard out of all that was some wise guy online that said, did you pick up the tab? And what you said was just priceless.
Yeah. I said, conservatives pay their own way.
Yeah, we don't pick up the tab.
Yeah.
We don't ask them to pick up the tab. They pay their own way, conservatives. And Pierre, I don't know if
he paid his bill.
I don't know if he paid by credit card or whatever, but he paid it. That's what's important. We don't do the socialist thing, is I order donuts and ask the guy behind me to pay for it.
That's correct. That's exactly what he did.
I love it. That's a fantastic story, and it must have shocked you. And that's what I'm saying. Oh, you should have brought him down to the show, right? But yeah, he's pretty tight with his schedule, and he just don't go anywhere. So, but
yeah,
you never know.
He had done already. That was his. So he had done 2 stops already that day, and he was on to right afterwards. He's on to Oleo in Niagara Falls. Then he went to CMI. Then he went out to Fleet. And then he was in Hamilton by dinner time. So,
he wasn't fooling around.
Yeah, no, he's got a full day. He's energetic. He's a guy who's got a plan. He's there to do something good for Canadians. And I think we're in a good position with him, going forward. I just hope he manages to score a non-confidence vote before October.
Well,
it's hard to say. He tried yesterday. I mean, obviously, Trudeau now is scraping at the bottom of the barrel there, trying to get the support of separatists, for crying out loud. Desperately clinging to power, doing Stephen Colbert and the rest, looking like a fool, not answering a question. So, it's time for an election. The Liberals don't want to give it. They know they're going to lose power. They don't want to give it. They don't want to give it up. But Canadians, at some point. So minority governments are not designed to last 5 years. They should, they're supposed to be there 2 to 3 years, before you have another election. Stephen Harper went through he won a minority government, then he had to go through another election about 2.5 years later. And he won again. And then he had then there was nobody willing to, I think it was 2006, 2008. And then, and he had the majority government, I think, at the end of 2008, if I'm not mistaken, or 2009,
something like that.
Yeah. So,
but they put on these big shows, the NDP and everything else. Jimmy Dollywall tearing up the papers, the agreement.
Oh, what a show that was!
On the ground. this, people, this is all play acting. These guys, he's a drama guy, Trudeau, right?
Yeah.
And this is all acting.
No,
They
100%.
planned this out before. He tore it up so it looks good in his writing.
So he could win a by-election.
Yeah. And that was it. All was staged, and it didn't mean anything because the bottom line is he backed him up, and here's proof right here.
Yeah.
He could have taken that government down yesterday if he wanted to, but he didn't. He said he was going, I'm not putting up with this. They wouldn't back the CN workers, and that's it for me. I'm done with the liberal. Guess what? He's not done with anything. It's a big show.
It's a big show. He doesn't qualify for his pension until March 17th.
Yeah.
So when he does, he may at that point, because the budget will be the budget is an automatic non-confidence. So if they vote down the budget, it's an automatic thing. They're on TV telling everybody that Canadians don't have any appetite for an election. That's baloney.
Yeah, that is baloney.
Well, that's baloney. The Canadians want an election so badly right now that but they don't want to give it. That's the problem. They keep trying to tell us. It's like it's as if they say it more and more that it'll make it true. Canadians don't want an election. Yes, we do want an election. We want an election so that we don't have to have another one for another 5 years. We're done with these people. These people are absolute. They've ruined this country. It's ridiculous. They've ruined it. We've got the longest wait times in history for any kind of medical care because of unfettered migration. Not immigration, it's migration.
Well, it's an invasion, really.
Okay, yeah, and we've got high food costs, high fuel costs, and this is all a result of moronic policies, right? And we aren't given, and it was a minority government. The Canadians didn't give them the mandate to continue these policies unabated, and that's what they've been doing. So the mandate, when you have a minority government, is to tread carefully. Like, you've gone so far, don't go much further. But they've decided to go further with their insanity, right? So typically, that's why you have an election every 2 or 3 years to either reaffirm this tread carefully thing, or we need to go in another direction and let's give a majority to somebody. So that's the way it works. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's the checks and balances of the Canadian system. But it's not. These guys have ignored it. They're doing whatever they can, and like I said, now they're willing to make deals with a separatist, in order to maintain power, which tells you exactly what they think about this country.
Well, that's what I mean. How can a separatist party exist? Like, you're supposed to have parties that run in every province of Canada.
Well, it's true.
So how does this even exist as a party that sways power in government?
Well, election law needs to change. So in order to receive federal funding, so in order to receive federal funding, like, these guys could all sit as independents. It's not a problem. But in order to receive federal funding, so you have to achieve certain vote things, whatever. There should be a law that you have to run at least in 20% of the seats outside of your province. Otherwise, what you could end up with are regional parties in Parliament, and then nothing will end up getting done.
That's right. I said. It's DEI and to the max.
Yeah.
If you want it's diversity, inclusion, and equity to the max, though, because now it's not just somebody getting hired for a position they're not qualified for or whatever. Now it's a national party swinging power, swinging votes.
Yeah, no, they should have
for our country.
They should have to run in. There has to be a law that if you're in the Parliament, okay, of the country, federal, it's a national body. You need to run it in at least 20% of the seats in every single province, and at least that way you guarantee that you have national party. Now, you don't have to try to win those seats. I mean, you can whatever. I mean, I don't think you're going to get any votes as a separatist party unless people really don't like you and they want you out, right? In Alberta or whatever. Yeah. But at least you have to provide the funding and this, and I think it would at least really hold in check this kind of separatism. Now, mind you, people in Quebec might get upset, and we might. And I think that's why the kind of law has never been passed, is because they don't want to upset the people of Quebec and have them start the separatism thing again. Yeah. But I think that reasonably, you can logically explain that to the people of Quebec, and I think that they would accept that.
Well, the people in Quebec are still going to vote for the same people and get them in.
Exactly.
So they're going to have the same number of seats. They're not going to win in other provinces, maybe a little bit in northern Canada or something, or northern Ontario, because there's a lot of French there. But maybe. But in the western provinces, no. In the eastern provinces, you never know, because there's a lot of French out there too. But either way, they're not going to lose anything by going nationally, but it's just going to make them legitimate.
Well, it would make them legitimate nationally, right?
Yeah.
But, provincially, they already have their separatist parties. They have the Parti Québécois.
Yep.
They have the other ones. But I mean, and that can always be, that kind of nationalism is held at the provincial level, because realistically, I mean, you don't need to run in the federal. You don't need to have a federal party. The issue is that if you want a national party, and I don't disagree, if you want a national party of Québécois, that's fine. Go ahead and do it, but run it in every province. Maybe, hey, listen, if I like your policies, maybe I'm going to vote for you.
Well, I really like the guy who was running for them when he had to say. So, I would have thought about him if I could vote for him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
you never
who
know.
knows? You don't know, right? And I don't care if it's a guy from Quebec who has Quebec's interest more so that I really don't care if he's got good national and foreign policy. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But like, you need to run. There should be a law. If you're in the federal legislature and you're making decisions for that affect the whole country, you should at least be running in 20% of the seats across the country.
Yeah, I agree. Like, because this is crazy now what's going on, and we're not going to see an election, until whenever. We don't know when.
Yeah. No. I think the last day possible is October the 25th.
Yeah, he's going to try a couple more times again, Bolivar.
Yeah, well, he's gonna. I guarantee you, there'll be another one probably in before Christmas, in November or whatever, and maybe another one sometime in the new year.
Yeah.
And then the budget is an automatic one, anyways. Right there, that's an automatic non-confidence. So if you pass the budget, if you vote for the budget, then you're voting for the government. But if you vote against it, if everybody votes against the budget, it doesn't pass. That's a non-confidence.
Yeah, well, we could use it. So. It's funny. I got invited to a Maxime Bernier thing, and I said, no, I'm not going. And they said, well, why not? You like the guy? And I said, I like what he has to say, but I haven't heard anything from him in 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, where is the guy?
Well, he's in Florida.
I don't know where he is, but I haven't heard from him. And so, like, when you have Jagmeet Singh saying he's tearing up these papers, everybody had a comment on it. I mean, everybody except him. Yeah. I never even heard a word on something like that. So, I've come to the point now where I'm not taking him seriously. It's that whole party is a joke. He won't win his riding, and if you don't hear from somebody, you can't. They're not running, as far as I'm concerned. They're just playing a game or whatever he's doing.
Well, it's Max's grift, right? Like, so Max has turned it into a business as opposed to a political movement. T-shirt sales, hat sales, fundraising. He doesn't disclose what he pays himself in the party. He's got like a dictatorial control over there, right? He hasn't had his own leadership convention or anything like that. No.
Nothing.
So, I mean, it's a party, and I'll give him this. He's running people in every riding. But at the end of the day, I think that the mood has shifted away from him a little bit.
Yeah.
And the reason is because he isn't running the party as an institution that can be, let's say, open to challenge. Right?
He's invisible.
Yeah. And like I said, he's buying property in Florida. Well, I mean, what's his job been the last few years? He hasn't had a seat, whatever. Well, I know he's paying himself from the party funds as the leader, and who knows how much that is. I don't think he's disclosed his salary to anybody.
It can't take him seriously. So let's move over to the region. That was an interesting thing that PP came into your place. I love it, and good for you. And I wish he would come into the studio. I'd love to ask him a few questions. But you never know. Maybe he will one day.
You never know.
Yeah, never know. So this regional budget they came out with now, 376 million capital budget, up from 281 million last year. Now we hear about 88 million for transit. It was 83 million last year, up 6%. We still have water, wastewater to worry about, waste management to worry about, and the operations budget to go, which are probably, by the time you add all these up, will put the region over well over $1 billion as a
They're
budget.
already over.
Yeah, and what's going on over there, Chris? I mean, up, up, up. Everything's up.
I look. I don't know how many times I get. Like, I feel like you're ramming your head into a wall. I've been yelling and screaming about this since 2018 when I ran for regional council. I mean, I was telling everybody, like, these guys are out of control. They're out of control. They just think it's a blank check kind of piggy bank situation. They have no fiscal. I mean, the capital budget alone is massive. Like, it's massive. These guys have had record capital budgets every year, and they keep telling us we have to fund. And I get a headache when I think about it, because I try to explain to people, we've funded already. They keep telling us I remember this distinctly because I have customers. I have one particular customer who used to come all the time from Cleveland, Ohio, and he had himself a construction company who specialized in water and sewer rehabilitations, right, for municipalities. He had some very large contracts at a fairly decent sized company over there, and I was discussing with him our issues, because the region had just put out that we have $1 billion. We need to spend $1 billion on water and wastewater. This was like 2002, 2003, 2004. This is when I'm talking about here. That's 20 years ago. Okay. So over those 20 years, our taxes have gone up, and our infrastructure and our water, wastewater has gone up, and they kept telling us it's for infrastructure. Well, where has this money gone? And we still apparently have a budget shortfall in water and wastewater. And they proposed, I think, a 12% increase this year was their initial proposal. I don't know where we're at now, but for water and wastewater, in order to fund rehabilitation of our infrastructure. Well, and they keep telling us that it's for the South Niagara new facility here. Well, they said that the last 5 increases. So how many times are they going to fund this thing? Like, no, I mean, how many times? So if you add 5% one year for that water, wastewater facility in Niagara, and then so that gives you an extra, whatever it is, 10 million, 15 million a year, and you're funding it over 10 years or 15 years or 20 years if you're taking an amortization in your head when you're doing it. You funded it already with a 5% increase. So you can't come back to us with the next year and say, no, we need to fund it, and here's a 7% increase. Or no, and then next year you're coming out and say, well, we have that as a 12% increase. No, you fund the thing once, right? And it's done. So, and not only that, but they're including that cost in the total cost of what they say our deficit, our rehabilitation deficits are. So they're telling us that, and then they're asking us to fund it again. And then they say, oh, this increase will solve Niagara's issues in 10 years, right? Well, in 10 years, it'll all be paid for. Well, that's what you said 20 years ago.
It's still not paid for.
It's not paid for, and it's not done.
It's not done.
It's not done. So what is it like? And then they tell us, oh, property tax increases. Why do you need property tax increase of 7% or 8%? Well, they left us capital shortfalls. Well, what is your capital budget used for? Well, it's used for infrastructure. Well, what infrastructure? Well, water, wastewater. So you're funding water, wastewater with property tax increases of 8%. Then you're funding water and wastewater with another 10% over here. And then you're asking us for another 5% on transit, or 8% on transit. I don't even know how much it is. Honestly, I tried to look it up today, and I got 6 different numbers.
Yeah, I think it's around 88 million this year.
So it's 88 million total, but 6%. Whatever, they're going to ask for 8%.
Up 6%.
The budget. And then they ask for, so they're funding everything. I thought property taxes were supposed to fund everything, and then on top of that, they're saying, well, it's a shortfall because of development charge decreases. Well, you said that 5 years ago, and now you said it again. And then you said it again 2 years ago. So what is it? Where are all these shortfalls coming from? I do know where there is a massive increase, and that's so labor's up. Regional labor increase is going to be 13.2 million. That's just basic labor, and they want to hire more people. So they're going to have more people, more pensions, more this. And they keep increasing this budget, and they keep increasing this budget, and they keep increasing this budget, and it all comes out of your pocket. And I like I said, I'm tired of trying to tell people, wake up. Like, these people don't give a damn about you. Your property taxes have gone up. Take a look. I looked at my property tax bills for the last 10 years, and I said, holy mackerel, how much could they go up? Like, I mean, I don't think there's any other. I mean, okay, you can argue groceries are up that much. Yeah, the price of zucchini's up, thing, but I don't eat that much zucchini. Like, so I can deal with that cost, right? Or lettuce or whatever, potatoes, or you can argue whatever. You can always adjust things based on what the cost is, but you can't get away from paying property taxes or water and wastewater. And these people just keep jacking it up, and it's every single year. I mean, again, so I remember from my memory that it was 37.33% increase from 2018 to 2020, 24 until the 24 budget this year, the beginning of this year. Now they're asking for possibly another 8%. That'll bring you to if you compound that, about 46% increase in 6 years. 46%. Just on property taxes. Your water was 30%. I remember that also. 30% increase over the last 6 years. Add to it whatever they ask for this year will be 35. Probably if it's 5 or 6%, it'll be another 36% increase on water and wastewater. That's every time you take a shower, turn on a tap. You can't get away from it. And half of that stuff doesn't even go in the sewer system. You water your lawn, guess what? You're paying both, right? So, and you're paying the secondary, you're paying I can't remember what the formula is, 1.3 or 1.4 on top of.
It's probably about 1.4 or 5 or something on top
like
of
that,
your water bill.
On top of your actual water
bill. Yeah, maybe more now. Yeah. Who knows?
So, look, people have to get angry. I mean, I know that people are angry because I talk to them, and it's ridiculous, but and they say it's ridiculous, but you have to go after these people on it. Like, you have to care. You have to show up and vote. You have to show, you have to write the letters. You have to show up. I mean, come on, guys. The biggest inflationary pressures don't come from the market. Okay. I mean, there are instances where, market conditions, something happens. There's a drought, there's a fire, there's a this, there's a that. There's an explosion. There's there's a strike. Yeah, that can insert temporary inflationary pressures into the marketplace. Usually they're transient, though. They don't stick around. So you have supply issues. One year, like canola goes, the crop goes to crap or whatever, and then the canola price shoots up, and the price of oil, vegetable oil, and all that other stuff goes up. It happens. Okay. Oranges freeze in Florida, and all of a sudden they're expensive. But when you put in a systemic increase, okay, that's what taxes are. They're systemic because they stay there and they never go down. They don't fluctuate. So if they crank property tax, water rates, transit, waste, they crank that up 5%, 10%. Guess what? It creates pressure because all these businesses, whether it be the grocery store, whether it be the gas station, whether it be all that stuff, they all pay this stuff. Okay. Carbon taxes, whatever it is, at the federal level, the provincial level, whatever it is, minimum wage goes up, all this stuff. This is all permanent, right? This isn't transient. This isn't market. This is government interference into the market, and it drives up costs of doing business. Cost of doing business costs you more when you're shopping. And not only that, so you're getting it twice, right? You're going to get it. Yep. You're going to get it when you pay your bills. And then you're going to get it when you buy stuff. And you're going to get it on the HST that you pay on top of everything.
Right.
Okay. So, don't complain about the prices if you don't complain to your counselor, your MPP, your MP, whoever it is. Those are the guys you got to complain for. complain to. You can keep you don't, and property tax itself is based on market value assessments. Market value has gone nothing but up. There is no reason for them to increase the mill rates on market value. If they could control themselves and not be everything to everybody, first of all, they just be the thing that they're supposed to be, is provide services. If they could just control themselves and just go with market value, then there's no need. There should be no need with the increase in housing costs. There's no need to raise interest rates. I mean, not interest rate, property tax rates. Interest rates is another issue, but
Okay, let me get to my second sponsor here. And we got to do these plugs, right? Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. We're getting to that time of year when you're going to start thinking about climbing those ladders and putting up your Christmas lights. And most people don't do it now when they should, when the weather's nice and they can get up on the ladder safely. They procrastinate and do it on a crappy day because they have to. They waited. Halloween's coming up. They want their house orange. The wife tells them, get out there and put up those lights. Guess what? Hamilton Glowstone Lighting is your solution for permanent outdoor lighting. They come by and they put up track lighting on your house, all installed professionally, all with a lifetime warranty. There's your safety factor. These lights are always on your house. You don't see them in the daytime, of course, because they're the same color as your eaves or your fascia. What they do is at night. That's when they glow, and no pun intended on that. You turn those on, you use your phone, and you've got all the colors of the rainbow, a million different colors. They build them in zones, so you can have red and green, or all orange, all green for St. Patrick's Day. You can decorate your house whichever way you like. You can change the zones, all from your phone. Just beautiful. Every one of the joints between the track lighting is soldered and sealed against dust and moisture. So you don't have to worry about those lights blowing out, fire starting, or any of that kind of thing. They're all there, they're permanent, and they're going to serve you well for a lot of years. And they add value to your house. Somebody comes by and sees your house lit up like that, they're going to say, wow, that's really, really nice, and that's less work for me. How do you get these wondrous lights? You call Colin Buckborough, who is the owner of Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, and you call him at 289-969-1797, and you say, Colin, I heard about your lights on Your City, Your Voice. Could you come over and give us a free quote? And Colin will do that, and away you go. And if you want to really Griswold your house, you want a lot of lights, it's a little bit outside of your budget right now, you can always finance it. You can finance whatever part you like, and pay it monthly to make it convenient for you. That's Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. Colin Buckborough at 289-969-1797. Make your house look spectacular come this Christmas season. You're going to love it, and no work for you. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. Okay, Chris. So now we've talked about all these increases. The labor's going up $13.2 million. All departments will be coming forward with increased staffing to support service levels, and we have a workshops being held for counselors on October 10th for the operations budget, which is really going to choke us. And how is your wallet going to feel on December 6th after the operating budget is approved on December 5th? Because we know what's going to happen with that. It's going up, and they're even talking about the capital budget should be around $420 million, not $376 million, because they have so much infrastructure that is in bad shape that they need to get that extra money over the next 10 years to actually be able to fix everything. So that goes back to what you're saying about where is it? We've been saving for this for years. They haven't fixed anything. And they still have the new South Niagara water plant to deal with, which is going to be, they're saying $476 million. I'm saying $800 million by the time they finish. Everything always doubles with the region. We're going to be in bad shape, Chris. I mean,
they keep saying that we got to fund these things. We've already funded them. We funded them. They said that last year. They said it the year before. They said it the year before that. They said it the year before that. And they said it the year before that. They use whatever excuse they can to crank your taxes. And I'm sick of hearing their excuses. You should be sick of hearing them too. It's first it was, and then it was oh, the previous council in 2018 when they got in, oh, the previous council left us in such bad shape infrastructure wise, and they proceeded to have five consecutive record capital budgets after that. Like they pushed the envelope every year with a weak council. It was weak. You didn't have someone like me who I ran. I honestly over there saying, "Oh, you guys are full of it."
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what you need. You need people there who are gonna, say you guys are sorry. You're full of it. Okay, you're full of it. Yeah, and you need someone up there who's gonna say, "Hey, how many times are you gonna ask people to fund the same thing? Like you're just like a beggar. You're going there every five. A guy gives you $5, so you go back to him and you lie to him about why he's giving you $5 every time. Like oh, I need it for groceries today. Oh, I need a new pair of shoes. Oh, I need you keep asking them for money. You're begging. And on top of that, you're increasing the mill rates and you're getting market value increases. So I'm sick and tired of hearing the baloney out of the regional government, the bureaucracy. It's baloney.
It is.
You can't really say anything else about it. There's nothing really more to say other than people got to get upset about it. They just like I said, every year it's the same thing. They keep them, and they're still in 2024. Okay, 2024 after increasing your property taxes, the region after increasing your property taxes almost 40%. Okay, in the next year it'll go up to 45 because they do it. What they want to do is 8%. Okay. If they are managed to do that, it'll be 45%. You will have suffered an increase of 45% over 6 years. Okay.
And that's just from the region.
That's just from the region.
That's not city.
45. Well, city Niagara Falls has been actually kind of, even though it seems like they've been raising it a lot, it hasn't. It's been about 18%. I don't know what their budget's going to be this year, but about 18% over the last 5 years.
They're looking at another 4 to 5%.
It's been far more reasonable than the region. However, the region is 45% over the last, and they keep giving you the same damn excuses, and they recycle it every other year. They recycle the 2 years ago, and they're still blaming they said, oh, the previous council. Well, they were the previous council right now because we just had a municipal election in 2022.
You're trying to pull a Kamala on.
No, it's the 2000 from the 2016 or 2014 council that the things haven't been. They left us in such a deficit. Baloney. Look at the capital budgets over the last 6 years. These guys have billions of dollars over the last few years have been squandered, and you got to wonder where the heck it's gone. You got to wonder where the heck it's gone. If they say they're in such deficit, that they have such problems, where did the money go? Where did the money go? Look at their capital budgets. You can look it up online every year. You say 2021 regional budget. What was their capital budget? Go back to 2018. Start in 2018 because that's when this new breed of councilor, these leftist wackos, took over. Okay, and look at their capital budgets every year. You started off at 275 million. Then it went to 325. Then it went to 376. Then it went to 425. Then it went to 476. And the 1 year it was like over $500 million. Okay. So where was it? Where did it all go? Where did it all go? The property tax revenues they receive have increased exponentially. They have 45. Where did it all go? You got to ask the questions. If they're in a budget, if they're in an infrastructure deficit at this point, with the amount of increases that they have, that's because they're incompetent. So what do you do with incompetent people?
You fire them.
Okay. So, and that's it. That's
fired.
They're incompetent. They can't do their jobs. Obviously, it's obvious. They've admitted it to you by saying, we need more money. They've admitted to you that they can't do their job. So that's it. Fire them. That's all. Can't do it. They can't do the job. They can't do the job and hold the line on costs. That's it. Fire them. But you guys got to get out there and vote and send them a message. You got to send. If the person visits Palestinian protests or maybe does some other stuff that more focused on like some social activism or something like that, rather than the job of run, don't vote for them. Just don't vote for them. And I'll say the names like Haley Bateman and Laura Ip and a few of the other ones. Some of the other wackos out there, and out in the other ones that just don't care. But the guys who are there, they don't have a job, they're retired or whatever, they never had a job or whatever. Don't vote for them. Don't vote for them. It's that simple.
That's simple.
Don't vote for him. Don't vote for the Kim Craters of the world. Like I like him. He's a good guy, but like, sorry, he's not doing anything over there. He's not saying anything. He's not saying anything. He's 70, almost 80 years old now, and like, like, give it up. Go home. Go home, because you don't care. Joyce Morocco, useless. Can't do a damn thing. I'm sorry. That's it. It's the truth. She can't do a damn thing. Bob Gale, he was good. Now he's just shut his mouth because he doesn't want to piss anybody off. Like, sorry, it's time for Bob to go on now too. I don't want to say it. I like Bob, but you know what, Bob? If you're not going to stand up and call him out on it, that's it. You got to get people in there who care. I'm sorry, but
it's the bottom line.
I mean, it's 45% now. It's getting a little bit out of hand. Now,
John Ringo Beam wanted me to ask you about this, about the $42. I wish it was $42. $42 million electric bus test in the region. Did you read about that?
No, actually, I didn't. $42 million electric bus.
Yeah, well, they're going to have trial run for electric buses because of this climate change green initiative, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to spend $42 million to find out if they're viable.
Oh, well, yeah. How about you just don't spend the $42 million and forget about that? We got a tried and true method right now. Electric buses, if they're viable. So what kind of infrastructure do you have to put in place to put this test in?
Well, let me just give you the numbers. $13.2 million for 8 buses.
Okay.
$14.85 million for another 9 buses.
Mm-hmm.
$9.4 million for electrification equipment and infrastructure, First Street Louth. And $4.8 million for phased equipment purchase and infrastructure downtown terminal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you're going to get the infrastructure. You're going to buy it, and it's going to cost you $15 million, and you're going to use it.
Yeah,
for 9 buses or whatever. 17 buses.
Okay, so 17 buses. And what happens if it doesn't work?
Well, see,
what if it's not? What if it's not feasible for the Canadian climate in the winter time?
For $42 million plus.
Yeah.
Because it's never just the purchase price. You know that. It's the ongoing maintenance of systems. And these buses after
what happens when the batteries go on?
Well, then you got to buy new buses for another $42 million.
What a waste.
I mean, it's just totally. And John Ringo Beam's point was, listen, watch other cities that are doing pilot projects, see how they work out for them, and then step in if they work.
They're doing them all over Europe. Just take a look.
Yeah,
see what's happened to their transit over there. I don't know.
So this is what they're going to do: $42 million for Zools to implement a pilot study. And you know what? What do they do in the winter when the batteries break down faster from winters and they don't last as long during the day?
Yeah, no, they got so 2 hours. They got to switch out buses.
And what are those 17 buses? Well, who are you going to scare with that? 17 buses. Listen. When the transit was in Niagara Falls, we were paying $7.5 million a year. That was our cost to run Niagara Transit. It went to the region, and all of a sudden it cost us $15 million. And because we are one of the bigger cities in the region, next year it's probably going to be $20 million. And we're going to keep on this $88 million that they're talking about. The budget for transit is not just for Niagara Falls. It's split up of all the regions, but the bigger cities pay more, because they have more roads to cover and all that. So now we're going to be probably 20 million of it or something. We're gonna, like Port Colborne's going to be paying like $2 million. Like us and St. Catharines are going to get zipped, and we're probably going to be paying 40 million, probably about 60% of it, and the rest will pay their little piece of it. And Laurie LaCoco always talks about this, because when they went over it, the thing was it was going to be revenue neutral for the city. We're gonna not have to pay $7.5 million. We're gonna give them all our buses, and some of them were aged and had to be replaced next. They got a big budget for that too. Don't forget that. But it turned out it cost us double the first year. I think that was 2023 when they flipped everything over. Last year, I don't know what it was. I think it was around 18 million. And so this year it's going to be 22 million.
Yeah, well, you've got Walter Senzik in charge over there, and it's just a disaster. That guy spends money like it's going out of style. He don't care. Let's spend another 3 million, 5 million, 6 million. Oh, let's do this, let's do that. He's
tax and spend.
Oh, he's
out of socialist.
I mean, he's the guy who put St. Catharines into a little bit of a problem there. They got the largest debt in the region. because Walter went nuts on COVID, thought that that there was going to be, or when there was amalgamation talk. So he went nuts and he went and borrowed all this money for infrastructure in St. Catharines, thinking that the rest, he thought that it was all going to become one. The region was all going to become one city, and that that the rest of the region would have to pick up St. Catharines infrastructure, and he was going to look like a hero, right? But it didn't turn out that way.
It didn't work that way.
No. So.
Yeah, well, was he, or was it him or Cisco when in 2023? It would have been Cisco. Yeah, well, what they did is St. Catharines didn't raise their rates. Actually,
well, they raised it the year before quite a bit, though.
Yeah, they rebated the money though for transit because they were saving it, and then he found out that regions charging us double what we were paying. Right, and all of a sudden that was a big mess. But these schemes. I mean, listen, there's so many people that are doing the cities that are doing these electric buses, this climate change nonsense. And we don't have to spend $42 million to figure it out. We can watch other cities that are going in on this, and we can see what the extra charges are, because there are going to be extra costs to this on a yearly basis. It's not just the capital you spend to buy them, the initial purchase. It's all the other crap that goes along with it, even to having to hire more people. Mechanics that
you have to retrain. You have to retrain your mechanics.
Yeah.
You have to have different tools. You have to have different. I mean, look,
exactly.
I'm not saying that you should never make a change into things, but is it necessary? That's what you got to ask yourself. Is this necessary? What is the benefit? What is the benefit? Oh, we're saving the environment with 18
green.
buses, 17 buses at $42 million. What's the harm? You have benefit versus harm, right? Like, so, sometimes you have to accept a little bit of harm in order to achieve a certain benefit for certain things. This is too much harm for very little benefit. Very little benefit.
Right. And we see what the big companies are doing now with electric vehicles. Stellantis, Volkswagen, Volvo, they're all pulling back from electric vehicles because they're no good. Nobody wants them.
No.
And so the region's going to jump in for $42 million of our tax money to do this. And guess what? The big companies are getting out of it. They put a hold on everything. They're not building anymore. They're closing down plants that were building them because they're not selling. Nobody wants them. They're not practical. They're doing with these EVs. They're trying to do it in Vegas and other big cities. Go take a look at how they're making out before you make a move like that. That was John's point, and I agree 100% with him.
It's a valid point. I mean, he's right about it.
He is.
And quite frankly, what is the benefit? 18 buses or 16 buses, whatever it is, for $43 million, the harm that it causes from your pocketbook is far greater than any benefit we will see and buses run clean now anyways. It's not the old buses, that they run. The engines, the combustion engines these days are a lot cleaner than they used to be.
Right.
So, yeah, listen, if you think carbon is the problem, I personally don't think it's as big as a problem as it's being made out to be, but
it's a moneymaker.
It is. I think there's other issues that we need to worry about before that. But at the end of the day, if you believe that, even if you believe that, okay, even if you are you accept that carbon is going to destroy humanity, who are all made of carbon, by the way.
No, we are carbon-based units.
So, but if you believe that, that's fine. Okay, let's go with your viewpoint. What is the benefit on CO2 versus the cost? How much CO2 are you saving versus that cost? And could that money be used to save CO2 in a better way than it is with those 16 buses? I would argue 100%.
I would say planting trees would probably be better than buying buses.
$42 million worth of trees will absorb the carbon from about I don't know. So consider it's each seedling's about $2, right?
Yeah.
How many? So for 80 million trees, I think you'll cover 16 buses.
Gas buses.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, there's one more thing I'm going to get to here that I want to ask you, because it affects you directly. But first, I want to get to my third sponsor, and that's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Now, I'm a pizza snob, and there's a lot of places I just don't go because I don't like their pizza. And Pete's Pizza, I said, listen, if you want to you sponsor my show, I have to like your pizza because I can't get on here and say it. And sponsor and have you as a sponsor if I don't like your pizza. So I secretly ordered one. It was really good. Now, Pete's Pizza is a franchise run by the Mancini family in St. Catharines, and you might know them. I don't know if you know Reno Mancini.
No, I don't.
He
know.
started it 40 years ago, and it's from their old family recipes for the sauce and the dough and everything. Now, Mike, who owns the Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza, worked in an Italian restaurant for 15 years, so he knows a little bit about Italian recipes. They use only the freshest ingredients for their dough. It's all handmade. It's all by the Mancini recipe, and their sauce is the same way. And I'm going to tell you, he uses Saputo, good mozzarella cheese. That's what I use. He mixes it with brick cheese for that good stretch and the good blend. Seriously, folks, these are pretty dang good pizzas, or I wouldn't be sitting here telling you about them. But don't stop there with them. They also have subs, poutine, panzerotti, weekly specials, and weekly combos, including wings, which are one of my favorites. Now, pizza's celebrating their 40th anniversary, and they're offering 2 medium pies with 3 toppings on each pie for $25. You can't beat that. They've also upped the ante on their store hours. They close at midnight from Sunday to Thursday and stay open till 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Now, in Niagara Falls, it's very hard to find anything after about 11 o'clock at night.
Late night za.
Yeah, late night za. You come home from a night of having a couple of pops or doing the
Open till 2 a.m.
smoking it up, and you got the munchies. Hey, you're open till 2 a.m. and they deliver. So how do you get this great deal? Well, you just call Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue at 905-374-2222, or you can order online at petespizzavictoria.ca to get your order in. Yeah, your pizza awaits you, man. Give them a call. My favorite that they put out of there is the Canadian with a crumbled bacon, pepperoni, and mushrooms. I love it, and they do it just right. Ask them to cook it a little bit more, and it comes out nice. Oh boy, I might have a pizza tonight, by the way. Anyway, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Call Mike, let him know you want a pizza, and he's going to get one to you. Tell him Paul from your city, your voice sent you. Okay. October 1st, we have a raise in the minimum wage, Chris. $17.20 an hour.
Yep.
And of course, having a restaurant, you hire people and they get paid $17.20 an hour to work for you. And it means higher prices on everything I buy and erodes the purchasing power of my already limited income on Canada pensions, like everybody else on Canada pensions. What, as a small business, does this increase mean to you? Last year it went up to $16.55. Now it's $17.20.
Well, so Doug Ford got rid of the lower tipped minimum wage and raised everything to the same level. Tips are tip minimum wage adds to the wage, so no one who works for me makes minimum wage. Maybe just because if you're a waiter or waitress, you're getting tips, so you're not making minimum wage,
right?
So, but it does, based on my pay, on my hourly rate to them, as far as my front staff, none of my back end staff make less than or make minimum wage. So, but in the front, yeah, it costs you money. Like so, not just a $1 increase in minimum wage, let's say, just so use some even numbers so we could do a more accurate kind of assessment. So that automatically costs you, for a less than 5-year employee, automatically costs you $1.04 because they get 4% vacation pay. And if they're 5-year plus employee, they get 6% vacation pay. So that costs you $1.06. Then on top of that, you have to add in your EICPP contributions.
Workman's comp.
Yeah, WSIB, all that stuff based on whatever that is. If you're raising that, so now $1.04, $1.06 turns into $1.50 or $1.75, right? Depending on what you're paying. So, you take that into account now, and times that by, let's say, I don't know, let's say you've got 10 wait staff at or full time or fourth, 10 wait staff at 2,000 hours a year. Uh, uh, so that's 20,000 man hours. So you times that 20,000 man hours by the $1.50. Let's just use an even round number. $1.50. That's $30,000 more a year in costs that you have right off the bat. Okay. Now, also, you have to remember that if you have some people who are working above minimum wage, but not much above minimum wage, or a couple of bucks above minimum wage, they too now feel like they need a raise also because they're too close to what minimum wage is. So, you have to take that into account. So it raises everything. And then, so the straight up cost for a business, let's say for a business that has 10 wait staff and 20,000 man hours, let's just use man hours. At 20,000 man hours is let's say $30,000 a year more in cost. But add in, now you're buying, that business also has to buy its food, or if in my instance, it's food, could be whatever, in whatever small business it is, has to buy its food in the grocery store. Well, the grocery store stocks the shelves with people who make, minimum wage or just above minimum wage. They have clerks that make minimum wage or just above minimum wage, not much higher. So if their man costs are, man hour costs are, let's say it costs them $200,000 more every year because they got more staff doing that job. They got guys unloading trucks and they got guys moving stuff around, and kids, and seniors, kids who do their summer jobs and or maybe work part-time on weekends or something like that, or after school to kind of make some money. So now they have to pay all of these man hours worth. Let's say it's $200,000. Well, guess what happens to the price of grocery? Goes up. So, and then you got to go to the gas station and fill up. And guess what? The gas guy there, if they have one, if you're going to a full serve, or if they have someone behind the desk, obviously there. Now they got to have more money out per hour, and on top of their water rate and property tax increases, and now your gas goes up, right? And then you got HST on top of all that stuff, so that goes up, and then like I said, it's an artificial pressure on the market. It's inserted by the government. The government is the biggest driver of inflation. I don't care what you say. Make any market condition argument and price gouging and all that stuff that you say. Does some of that go on? Yeah, maybe, but not really. It is all artificial pressure, external pressure by the government. The government is in complete control of inflation. They are in complete control of market pressures, that are artificial market pressures. Okay, like I said, there are real market occurrences. However, the market usually adjusts one way or another at some point. So, but when you insert systemic pressure into the marketplace, that's what happens. You have to look at it, a multiplier effect. Again, multiplier effect works both ways. We always hear about, we're going to have a factory, it's going to open up and we're going to get 1,000 jobs and it's going to create another 500 jobs because of the, periphery services that are around. It works the same with taxes and increases like this. So when you increase the cost of doing business, that also has a multiplier effect. It's exponential. It's kind of like a snowball. You roll down a hill, right? It starts out like the size of a baseball. By the time you're done, it's the size of a basketball, because you're accumulating these cost increases as you roll through the economy. So the guy goes to fill up his car, he goes to the mechanic, he pays his bills, he has to go buy groceries, he has to take his kids to soccer and whatever, and all these people need to make more money to pay their bills, right? So like it's a snowball. It just, you roll a snowball down a hill, and when it comes to a rest, it's going to be 5 times the size, 6 times the size. It
comes to rest against the consumer.
Well, that's it. But like right? There's no real end to it because it's circular, right? So yeah, like I said,
Never ends.
Well, your kids in dance or in baseball practice or in soccer or whatever. Well, now the shoes he's buying costs more to drive them there. Costs more. The guy's got, you know what I mean? Like, you want to put them in hockey. Well, the cost now has gone up for everything. Guys cleaning the rink. Guys doing this. So the cost is up on everything. When you insert these artificial pressures into the thing, you're just raising inflationary pressure. And inflation, it's a tax on you. It's a tax on you.
Well, that's what I was listening to a guy on TV talking about Kamala Harris, and she wants to raise the corporate rate to 28%. And he's going, all she's doing is raising your taxes by 8%, from 20 to 28%, because the corporation will never eat that. They're going to charge you more, and they're going to make their money back. So in effect, she might as well just tell you, you're going to pay 8% more taxes, and we're going to leave the corporation at 20%, because they just pass it on to you, the consumer, anyway. So corporations don't pay tax, and the reason they don't pay tax is because they charge more for their product.
Well, they give out dividends.
Yeah, and they don't even care what the government says. Oh, we're going to raise it to 35%. Fine, your car is going to be worth 10% more.
No, oh yeah, sure. Let's have a housing stuff. Let's give you $25,000 to buy a house. Yeah. Well, what do you think is going to happen to the price of a house?
Well, they're going up because now everybody's going to be out buying a house.
Well, it's going to go up $25,000.
Right. Well, sure they are.
Maybe more than that.
And there's going to be more people who are able to get into the marketplace, and that means when there's more people, bidding on houses, what happens with the price?
It goes up.
Supply and demand.
It's 100%.
More people demand it because now with the 25,000 they can. Then the supply is going to be shortened. And the prices are going to go up.
But you got to be careful there because, your property tax payments, if things go the way they are, they're going to be more than your mortgage payments. More than a mortgage payment was, 20 years ago for buy a house.
They're probably getting close now. Well, not really.
On a monthly basis, very close.
Yeah. Saying your taxes are going to be the same as your monthly payment.
If you got a house today, that you bought for $275,000, it's worth $1 million today. I mean, your property tax bill is probably the same as if you divide it up on monthly, it's probably the same or close to your principal and interest payments from your original house purchase.
Yeah, and wait until they do a market value assessment, which hasn't been done since 2016. It was supposed to be done in 2020, but they didn't because of COVID. Now we're 4 years later, which another one should be done. Yeah, that's going to be interesting what the province is going to do if they start that baloney. And
well, the good thing is about that is that they can't.
It's capped, right?
It's capped at the amount of increase that they can put on you. But you'll be at the maximum. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when you got these guys, so you'll be at the max, 10%, whatever. I think it's 10% is the max increase that they can put on. If I'm not mistaken.
Market value assessment.
Yeah, but you add that 10%. And then you add the mill rate increases, your 45% mill rate increase. So if your 10% increase, it takes you from, gives you an extra, let's say your assessment is at 500,000 or 600,000, whatever it was back in 2020. And then they add another 60,000. And then your property tax on that extra 60,000 is going to be up another 45%. So
yeah, well, like my house is valued at $279 in 2016. That's the market value assessment, but now on the market it would be worth $650,000 or $700,000. So if they move it even 10%, that'll be another $30,000 of value on the house, and of course your taxes or your mill rates based on the market value assessment of your house. If you look on your tax bill, you'll see it. So you're going to be paying a little bit extra.
Oh yeah, at least another $50-$60, maybe $100, and then you got another 8% regional tax increase plus whatever the city gives you. So you're going to be another $150.
So we're just waiting because the city council, our city council, their tax, I think the budget comes down on. They're going to be talking about November 26th special meeting they're having, and then I think December the 10th, but. I'm just going from memory here. Somewhere around those dates, you have to look at niagarafalls.ca and see when they have these special meetings for the capital budget. And then in January, we get into the operations budget, which is always the big one where they want more money for more staff to do more things. And they try to tell you that they can't. Of course, the Penguin, he's always, But you know what, Chris, what gets me about these budgets and people in general, just speaking, is that, when times are good, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you can build all these tennis courts and swimming pools and everything else. But people have to realize that stuff is not guaranteed to you in the Constitution. It's only there if you can afford it. So the expectations for $12 million walking paths and all this other crap that the city's spending money on you have to say no to that, because right now we're in a problem. We're in a situation where we don't have enough money to do that stuff. Just like at your house. I want to put this in. I want to put a pool in. It's $100,000. I don't have the money. I don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. I don't call somebody and say my rights are being violated. Well, why, sir? Because I don't have a swimming pool.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed you. Cable TV.
You don't get the swimming pool and ask all your neighbors to pay for it.
Exactly.
Right.
And cable TV, there's no right to have cable TV. If you want it, you pay $200 or $300 a month. That's it. There's no right for you to have these things: walking trails, swimming pools, parks. They're nice perks and they're nice amenities. Pickleball courts, ghetto domes, and all this other crap. They're nice amenities if you can afford them. But when we're in a situation right now where we can't afford them, the city has to spend its money on more important things that you like clean water and sewers and roads and safety, the things that you really need to survive. And you have to spend money on groceries and stuff. And guess what? Some of these things have to go. They're not rights. They're perks that can be offered when we have the money. And I think people have become so used to saying, I want this, I want that. And nobody's saying, no, okay, we'll just borrow money. Well, issue debentures to pay for it. Don't worry about it. You'll get your $12 million trail. You'll get your new swimming pool. You'll get this. You'll get that. You'll get your 4-pad instead of the old Niagara Falls Arena.
Mm-hmm.
These expectations, where they came from, was the 60s and 70s, when everybody was working, everybody was paying taxes, babies were being born, there was low immigration, not taxing our public services and our systems and our housing and everything else. These are the days you can afford that stuff. But today, no, you can't afford it at home. They say to you, Chris Rigas' favorite saying, tighten your belt. Tighten your belt.
Yeah.
Because we got to raise taxes. But they never tighten their belt.
That's it. Government should be saying, we're going to tighten our belt so you don't have to. Not, we're borrowing money. That's just Trudeau's line. We're borrowing money so you don't have to. No. Tighten your belt so we don't have to.
Exactly. I mean, expectations have to be in line with reality. And I think the expectations are way overboard today. And I'm going to end it on that note. We've went through everything here, and we're going to be back talking about the budget again
sure.
once we get some more numbers on this other stuff. But I thank you for coming in, Chris. It's always great when you come in, you shed some light on this stuff, and you give us the facts, the truth. And that's what I like.
Yeah.
I sit here and try to do that myself. So I'd like to have somebody else here letting people know I'm not crazy.
You're not nuts, no.
I'm not nuts. Although sometimes I think I am. Anyway, my name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. In the studios of 4680Q. We thank Chris for coming in today. We'll have him back. He's always a favorite on here. And enjoy the day today and enjoy the week. Pray for the people down in Florida.
Yeah,
they're getting hammered down there. The place I was at in last March, evacuation order, and the beach is right there. So they could be getting swamped by about 7:00 tonight. So pray for all of them and hope everybody's safe. Have a safe day yourself, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow with Finally Friday. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao.